Yeah. But neon out the mud. Before I get it out the mud, I stay on top of my fitness and hit the shower, clean it up, and then get back to the business. I don't care about who did it, I ain't worried who didn't. I head directly to the back, so I'll be there in a minute. I got expensive taste, the rollie got a different face. For surely I be in them places, they won't let you pass the gate. Post it up, sipping $1,000 scotches with the rocket.
We got Dr. Jeff here. It's a big show. We had a bunch of revelations last week.
Look at it. You got a beat for him?
Oh, this is what's going on here?
I call it the beach boat.
Sandbar.
I like the leaf collector.
Yeah, that one should get a star. The land yacht.
Permanent groundings.
Oh, yeah, permanent groundings.
Rick's boat storage.
Run aground.
He should put a ball on his golf cart and tow it around the neighborhood.
Punt aground. Instead of run aground, punt aground.
He should name it the Valdez.
What do you think? You're the star now? Rob, he thinks he's the star now.
Whatever. I can't, nothing. Some things I can't control.
This
Rick,
shows.
I came up with some boat names for you today. You, okay, how about failure to launch? Like, remember that movie with, what's his name?
Who is it? What guy?
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. Rick, you might as well pour me one of them if there's any left. I had to wait. I had to wait for you. Oh, come on, Rick.
Whoa. Gracious.
Yeah, I went
Yeah,
down.
Rob's been here for 2.5 hours. The poor guy's got his time clock's ticking, and you're fucking jerking him around.
Yeah, the reprimand the woman in the office, all right?
Real selfish. Real selfish. You didn't pour me a glass of scotch?
Wait, there's none.
You took all of it, you prick?
You only got a little glass.
There was nothing. You took the...
Actually, go get a glass. I'll pour some in there for you.
Fuck you. You are. This guy made us wait 2
Why
hours.
don't you just have some Grey Goose?
Now, that's good, Rick. I'll take the little one. No, I'll take the big one.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick's got me rationed here. Thank you, Rick. Glad you could make it, Rick. Glad you could make it. For the taping.
No, I just
What, you want it on?
like 120 miles.
Oh,
I just did the
120?
full fucking circle, dude. I went from fucking...
I didn't think you were going to make episode 33 here on the
man.
How You Doing show with Dr. Jeff
I would never
Rawson.
miss Dr. Jeff, dude. Never.
You've had the Canasci org. You guys have made some progress.
What's
you got some.
Canasci org?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Institute of Cannabis Science.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Institute of Cannabis Science.
Ooh, you guys got me sweating. I'm nervous.
He's got board members now. He set up the
Really?
board. He's assembled
Last
the
time
board.
you were here, you were a lone wolf.
Yeah, pretty much. The last time I was here, boy, things were rough, man.
About a year ago. Was it a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a year.
Yeah, it's been a
Golf
year.
clap.
A lot's happened in the cannabis space in Mass.
Yeah, lots changed, man.
For the better?
Not really.
Some for the better, some for the worse, man. I mean,
It's
some people
never
are having
good when
hard
you.
times.
You're never
right
good
now.
when you start with
Yeah, well, some businesses are closing, some businesses are going to close.
I think
so it's
some
definitely not
businesses
better
need
for
I think a
everybody.
lot of businesses are going to close.
Yeah, well, I think that there's
A lot of businesses are going to close.
there's a general consensus that there's some saturation. So
Well, when you sell weed for $5 a gram, how do you make a living?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
It might
Good
be
news is we thought the CCC was just sitting on their ass in a board room eating donuts the whole time, right, Rob?
No, she's
And
actually
come
doing
to
pretty
find
good.
out, Kim Roy's tearing it up over there.
No, but Kim Roy, she's done.
She's doing some work, and you still have yet to apologize to her.
I don't know.
You've
She's a
stubborn,
very nice lady.
you stubborn fucking prick.
No, she's a very nice,
I
Yeah.
thought she
very
was
nice
awesome.
lady.
Yeah,
she's very nice.
Very smart.
yeah, and
Wicked smart.
she's working. We honestly thought none of them had a clue, which we still think that some of them don't have a clue. But Kim Roy, she's got a clue.
I've learned a lot more about the kind of the internal workings of the CCC, definitely, and yeah, she's
said
And
a lot.
we
Making stuff happen.
also forget that it is a state position, and trying to get things done through the state is never easy.
No.
A lot of the problem has been getting everybody to work together in the agency the right way. So
They don't have enough people.
Looking at it as like the whole agency is kind of a challenge. Yeah, they're probably understaffed.
Didn't she say she
and
had a $9
underfunded.
million budget?
No,
Yeah.
19.8 or something,
Yeah.
was and I think 12
And you would
million.
think that's a lot of money, but it really isn't.
19.8 million, I think, was
Yeah.
their budget, and 12 million went to payroll, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to lighten that up.
Those were her kind of
About,
ballpark
right.
estimates, and they seem pretty good.
She needs
so.
double that.
No,
Right.
they probably need more, but they also probably could do things more efficiently. And I think sometimes they don't have everybody working together, kind of as well as they
units.
could.
Well, it's the state.
What would you
I see a
do?
lot of signs that the executive director, they're. I mean, he's not actually even super new anymore. He's been there several months. Travis Ahern.
the lights.
There's some signs that this relatively new executive director is pulling things together and figuring stuff out. And so, yeah, I see things changing there.
And shortly after we had her on the show, they did their first announcement where they shut the first testing lab down in Massachusetts
We're gonna take
for
credit for that.
fraudulent activities.
We're taking credit for that. They're watching the show.
Oh, you think they were watching the show?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we're masterminds
Well,
over
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
Well, I do think
We're taking full credit for that. You guys are welcome.
I do
out
think
there.
that the pressure that is applied by consumer activists, right, including the people on this show, does generate the urgency that they do respond to. I mean, what I've learned is that at the level of the Cannabis Control Commission and the commissioners, the staff there, and the state legislators, they actually pay a lot of attention to what gets published in the Globe, in outlets like Talking Joints Memo,
Yeah,
and that those people are watching this.
the How You Doing show, maybe
absolutely.
Jeff too. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you
Yeah,
saying? We got more
right.
than
I mean,
6
you had a
listeners now?
commissioner on last week, right?
right.
Like, why
and
did
then
she come on this show?
She must have heard it. Must have seen it.
Yeah, because she thought it would be useful, right? You get friends with Chris Ferroni, right? Like,
Yeah. No, and it seems like now, since the last time we had you on, you have a better understanding of the interworkings of this. Have you worked with any of these people directly now since we've had you last on the show? Are you showing up to more meetings or?
Yeah, well, I've I've watched a lot more of their meetings. I published a couple articles myself about some of the dynamics that I've seen going on. I've gotten to know a few people who are sort of like at upper level staff or like at the commissioner level.
So they're listening to you.
So-
They hear you, Mr. Rawson.
Yeah, and I have like
Wait,
a
how's
pretty,
the
I have a
cut?
pretty responsive relationship with Commissioner Roy. We don't speak like super often,
Do you send a lot of information, stuff,
but
your
I've
results and
sent her,
findings?
I've sent her
and stuff?
emails recently. Like I sent her an email about that assured testing lab after they did their suspension order. I just
Dr.
told her
Jeff,
what I
now,
thought.
Dr. Jeff, are they reaching out to you, or are you force feeding the information to them?
She's reached out to me before as well, but I definitely, I had to kind
Force-feeding?
of work my way in a little bit, right?
All right.
Ricky, nothing gets done without being proactive.
You got to be fairly proactive, but I think, also like, I was really lucky. Like I should really shout out Chris Ferroni, right? Like, a couple of the articles that I published on Talking Joints Memo, like got more people to know who I was. And,
honestly, as soon as we met Chris, I thought he was like I like the fact that he just doesn't give a fuck and just say what it is. And you know what?
yeah.
Kudos.
Hey, that guy's the real deal,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah,
He is
absolutely. You
he's
gotta
like
be.
a really, he's like
You
a
gotta
old,
be.
He's like
Absolutely.
the old school, hard smoking, hard drinking journalist.
Good.
And like kind of a bootstrappy guy.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. We're talking about the guy that wrote for the Phoenix.
Yeah, Chris
You know,
Ferroni,
Yeah.
the Phoenix.
No,
Rob
he's-
likes him 'cause of the back
he's really
page.
cool,
Yeah.
and he encouraged me several times. He just saw stuff I wrote on LinkedIn. He was like, "Come on, man, like give me something." And he's been a great editor for me. So like that guy's really helped me like kind of come to the attention of some of the like some of the decision makers anyway.
He says when
get a
he's
little tiny bit of influence.
He says when it needs to be said.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's
You
real
don't like it,
authentic.
it's
He's real
facts.
authentic. He says what he thinks, and he's super smart, and
Right.
he has a lot of experience. Like
He just doesn't throw it out there. He does his research, and then he fires away,
Yeah.
and he can back it.
Yeah, and he's worked for years with the Boston Institute of Nonprofit Journalism, which I think is also a great organization. So, yeah. Since I'm on shout out mode, I'll shout out my board. I probably can't name them all off the top of my head right now without forgetting a name or something.
The dabs are strong with you, Jeff.
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot.
But I'll mention Kara Crab Burnham, who has done a huge amount of work to help me get the org more organized.
You say Carrot Top Burnham?
No, her name's Kara.
Oh, I thought you said.
Good guess.
That's actually a pretty cool name. Carrot Top Burner.
Yeah. Carrot Top. Carrot Top. We'll tell her we'll tell her that's her new name. She might not object.
But a lot of our listeners, I'm just assuming, a lot of our listeners probably don't read, but that order that came out about the assured testing, right?
Yeah.
Can you exactly explain what went on there and why they got shut down and what type of activities they were doing that were fraudulent?
I have some of the text from it right here. I'll skip down to it. That's fine.
You're such an asshole. I caught that.
Well, just because I don't read, everybody.
Yeah, you automatically assume nobody else reads.
Yeah.
Disrespecting the listeners.
Well,
Whatever. I'm in there too.
let's just say this.
I should have rephrased it. For people like me who don't like to fucking read and
Yeah,
too lazy to read,
absolutely.
can we explain this, Jeff?
I like to think of myself as an informed guy, but
you're your PhD, of course.
Sure, yeah. But in the last year, I've also realized how often in the past, like that I've thought that I really understood a situation, but actually I've heard about it from other people and I haven't looked up all the primary documents myself. In the last year, I've been practicing a lot more, like looking up primary documents myself and digging into stuff. And an example is the suspension order. And I've just singled out like a couple of points from it because this is the suspension order that was issued against Assured Testing Labs. And one of the things that it accused them of doing was it said that, 7,183 times they took a test result that was not 0, but it would have been a passing test result for total yeast and mold. They took that test result and they entered it in as 0 and reported it as 0.
Even though the result would have passed the mold test?
Yeah. So,
right,
but
so
it ends up being misleading and making it kind of seem cleaner than it is. And
Doesn't seem that bad. Sounds like someone just
Yeah,
being
that's-
lazy.
it's a really straightforward instance of it's a really straightforward instance of fraudulent data entry to make it look better than it is,
Yeah,
right?
but 7,183 times. That's kind of a violation right there.
No, but it didn't change. It didn't change the course of anything. The product was still passed.
Maybe the purveyor of the product can falsely assert, "Hey, this is a 0," right? Like if
Instead
they're
of it being
Are
reporting,
people
real.
looking at
if they're
that though?
reporting it wrong, and it also confounds.
No.
It also confounds like correct analysis of the data and correct evaluation, right? And it's also just plain a violation of law. Like
Okay,
they have to. They're supposed to enter the numeric result, and it's pretty clear. So
I get that. I get that, but it didn't change the course of time.
But it's definitely. But it's also right. It's not the most important thing.
Right. I want to see the
except-
juicy stuff.
Assured has also been sued.
By MCR. They were in the
Right.
MCR?
Yeah, and this lawsuit mentions the Massachusetts fraud statute, which is a pretty standard fraud statute that assesses damages based on number of counts times the value. And in this case, the value might be asserted to be something like the value of a full panel of tests.
Oh, like 300
Right.
times 7,100
So
times?
if you take that,
Whatever?
Yeah, right. So if you take that number 7,183 and you multiply it by, say, the cost of like a full panel of cannabis flower testing.
This
Now-
is in the millions of dollars.
right. Then you get to millions of dollars.
Tens of millions
You
of
get to-
dollars, like 30 million.
I think it's single digits.
So my question
Yeah,
is
about
why,
4 million
why,
is what I worked out. If it's 550, That was like a
What,
running
10
assumption.
yeah,
So
27,000?
that's a very
Yeah,
high
yeah.
end an assumption, but still, like
Oh, yeah.
I got a
right?
quick-
That was high.
I got a quick
I added
question.
one too many
maybe
zeros.
maybe
Yeah,
kind of off the subject a little bit, but
Yeah.
how did they get picked out over everybody else that's also as shady of them, if not worse?
That's a
Because
great.
like Trevor said,
That's a.
they didn't. It's not like it was 7,183 that was bad that's out there. You know, you said they would have passed. So,
These are for data. This suspension order says that they evaluated data over the course of 1 year. So it was basically April 2024 through April 2025.
So this is like a technicality, maybe
It's
like
kinda-
a
it's-
fucking.
I've singled
a
out
file,
number
though. It's not a
27 in
technical.
in a document of many counts. Like the
Right.
really juicy stuff is what's next, is starting at number 28.
Okay.
All right. So at least 544 samples indicated values over the threshold for failure, but they didn't report any of those failures or input them to metric as failures. So that's a lot of times that they passed failing samples. And
That says that they
Massachusetts-
passed
yeah.
it, or they just
And
didn't enter it.
So that's not entering it. And later it gets to the part where, they had a
same thing, you
mechanism
still
for
fail.
passing it. So Massachusetts law says that they have to inform the CCC of failures within 72 hours.
Ooh.
And that's not just a regulation, that's a law. So that's like criminal.
So do they lose their license to?
So
test
they
for
haven't
how-
lost their license yet. They get one hearing to fight it, and they've also filed a lawsuit to fight their suspension. But their grounds look weak to me.
What, they countersued the
because
state?
the worst thing, right? And this will come to I think what the answer to your question is. So actually the most damning thing in the suspension order is that they had a standard operating procedure for potential failure, which was if they got an initial failure of a test, the technician was to contact the cultivator, get a new sample from the cultivator, and substitute the analysis of that new sample
with the old sample.
for the old one.
Entry for the old entry.
Yeah, so those
Oh,
were.
so is that the
those were
500 and-
written
Was that like a do-over?
Those were written instructions in their standard operating procedures, instructing their technicians to break the law.
Wait. This isn't written in their standard operating procedures
Yes.
that when they
Yes.
probably
So they give
I
their people
believe that
mulligans?
this lab was especially low-hanging fruit because they had clear instructions for their staff to cheat.
So that's
Instead
how,
of failing the sample, get a new sample and use that analysis. And then, right, if that one fails, then what are they? I mean, right, it's a daisy chain. And this describes that daisy chain also of doing multiple times.
I don't mean to cut you
Yeah.
off, Jeff, but this 544
Yeah.
samples that wasn't
So
reported.
that's just one set of examples from a limited time frame, and it doesn't,
but would
doesn't
I
seem
assume?
that bad though from 7,000.
Yeah, but would I assume that them 544 samples that represented a batch, maybe up to 15 pounds, respectively, got put on the shelf?
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
recall,
and-
though. That's what's funny about this. There's been no recall of product.
You know, this is a really concerning thing.
Well,
and
they could have a
I've
lawsuit
been thinking
on
about
that.
that a lot. I can only think of 3 reasons why there wouldn't have been a recall. Because you're right. Yeah, this company they received a summary suspension order. Right. That means they get the order. There's no fucking warning. Right. That's
That's it.
They're closed on Thursday.
They
right?
got a notice, a
So
48 hour or something, or a 72 hour notice.
They received this note. They received, but that notice was this suspension order,
Yeah,
right? They don't get any chance. They don't get chance.
I got a
any
dumb
chance
question.
at a hearing first.
What are you
yeah?
going to do in 48 hours?
Finish whatever product you
They
have and
just
get out the door.
run
or
the rest
something?
of their analyses and provide. Importantly, the suspension order told them to provide all of the original instrument files from those analyses, so that they couldn't cheat on them.
At that point, you almost
they're-
would have thrown it down the toilet.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all
we
we
had-
got. We just
So they're
finished.
totally busted.
We had a
Yeah,
file.
So they were,
file.
so they
Yeah,
were totally
you guys
busted.
should've told me last
and
week. We
they
missed
were
it.
closed summarily because they were deemed a danger to public health because of things like a standard operating procedure instructing
What did
them
you
not
just
to
say?
fail samples and cheat.
But
So-
here's the problem.
But then if there's such a threat to public health, then how come none of this product that they were testing is recalled?
That's where they can have their
And
lawsuit.
the answer is because they were testing flower for most of the big companies that are in Massachusetts.
There you go.
What, they're
And
protecting
the
them?
Cannabis Control Commission is quite wary of lawsuits, and they don't want a whole bunch of big money, deep pocket companies piling on the defense of this stupid
That's why
lab.
they let it go.
So I think that's why they're not. That's one possible answer for why they're
That sounds
not
like
doing a
the
recall. There's
That is
two
the
other
answer.
possible answers. One is maybe they just didn't think of it because public
I don't
health
know.
is really far from their thinking, and they've never done a recall before. So maybe it just doesn't occur to them like it does us. Or three, they don't have the capacity or the capability to do a recall. They don't have the.
That's on the
they don't
brand.
Have all,
Yeah,
they don't have
exactly.
the capacity and to track products.
Well, that's
and
on
to
the
tell
brand.
people what to do.
That's on the
that's
brand.
Because they've
There's-
never worked it out, and they have logistical problems with executing a recall,
And then
they
the
can't
people
work
already
it out.
bought it from the people and
Yeah,
this
yeah,
and
but
that.
So-
I don't
Yeah, but
understand.
that's
Why
a-
don't they have a button in Metric where they have a pause button on, hey, this
Yeah,
batch
well,
pause,
you know,
boom,
they
this
might
batch
not,
pause,
right? Maybe
this
they
batch
never did
pause.
that.
And then now it's up to the brand to collect
Yeah.
their product because they put the shitty shit out there. So that it shouldn't have nothing to do with
And
the
to go off of
CCC,
what
you know?
Trevor says,
Other than-
if that's the case and you want to try to sneak it out into the public,
Yeah.
right, and then it gets tested after the fact, right? That's no different than food, right? It gets through, and then all of a sudden somebody gets sick of salmonella, and then they go check it, and it's got salmonella or whatever the hell it is. That product is getting recalled.
Across the country,
Right,
like
right,
listeria.
right, and that goes back to the manufacturer.
He eats it.
What? Yeah,
The
exactly.
manufacturer eats it.
Exactly.
No, I
And
know,
with
and
more of
I
those,
would like to see.
recalls. It's
proper
not just the
recalls.
lawsuits that are going to fix it. The recalls
Yeah.
will fix it because if you gotta, that's probably going to be a recall is going to hit them in the pocket way more than some type
executing-
of fine.
But I will point out. Look, a recall. There is a bunch of like paperwork to execute it correctly as a regulator. All right, because they got to identify all the brands and all the products that are subject to the recall. They've got to be able to list all the stores where people might have gotten it, and they got to put all that
Yeah, but the
information
testing-
out.
the testing-
and that is the regulator's job, that they would have to assemble all that, and that's a lot.
That's a lot
Well,
of
no,
work.
that still falls
it is a
back
lot.
on. That
Okay,
still
so-
falls back on who's manufacturing it.
Other than the
So if
regulator
they've never
sitting
done
there-
a recall before, then they haven't developed the infrastructure to execute
Okay,
that
so let's talk
necessarily,
about this
right?
hearing
That's a
process
possibility.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So you said they get one hearing.
Yeah, they'll get one hearing, and they filed a lawsuit to enjoin. They want a judge to enjoin
injunction?
Yeah.
So that they can
put in
keep
an
working
injunction,
while they're
and
doing
enjoin
this?
The
Yeah, they want to
the
keep putting out the rest of
commission
their
to
moldy
actually
shit.
like return their license and reopen them.
Oh, while
Yeah.
they're waiting
Yeah,
for
to
the
say
hearing.
that this summary suspension is illegal, but I don't think they had got a leg to stand on that. I mean, the law gives the CCC the power to do all of this,
Whatever
So I
they
got-
want.
and they've laid out their case pretty carefully in here, and
So I got
it's hard. It's also kind of hard for me to imagine, like a guy like Travis Ahern. I mean, this guy's like he's been a town manager for years. It's kind of hard for me to imagine, and he doesn't seem like the kind of dude that goes way out on a limb, if you know what I mean.
So what's going on with their
Like,
product
he's
while
the
this
person
is
who
going
signed
on?
this order, right?
What's going on with their product while this is going on? It's just sitting
It's
there.
just
Did it
out
get
there in the stores,
confiscated?
Yeah, it's still available for sale. Yeah,
All right, I don't mean to
All right,
cut
so what's the
anybody
problem?
off.
yeah.
Shit, you guys talk so loud, and for so long, I forgot what I was gonna say, but
Oh,
but it was to the other point about the recall, about why aren't they doing a recall? Now you understand why I politicked around the apology?
Yeah.
They halfway did it. They shut the lab down. But then the recall, the infrastructure, it's all in the manufacturer. Other than they have to hit a couple buttons and red light these SKUs, and everything's got to get collected and hauled at that time. I'm sure metric, if they're the system,
not that hard.
If this metric system's used all over the country in different states to govern, the cannabis and track the cannabis industry in each state, there's got to be some fail-safe on there for product recalls.
Well,
What did they think? No product was ever going to get recalled? And then you hit the button, and then you have one person at the CCC go through the paperwork. Oh, yeah, this batch went here, blah, 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 blah. All right, now, hey, you got 2 weeks. I don't know, whatever their recall procedure is.
Yeah,
You
well,
got
I
2
do
weeks
have-
to get it back to your place.
And
I do
it's
have
not
some
that hard. They
information
know
about
exactly
that.
how much
Okay.
was made.
Different states actually do, like Metric provides a fair amount of customization state to state.
Okay.
And so it could be possible, now I don't know the specifics, right? But it could be possible that they have functionality for that they've rolled out for some states and that we
What,
don't
for the
have it here.
procedure for a recall?
But I don't know. Yeah.
I think that would've been
But I'm also not
firsthand,
aware
right?
of it. I'm just not aware, of what
These are
the
the-
capabilities of that system are for this. It sounds like the kind of thing that would have come up. It'd be interesting to ask Metric like what they do, right? I don't know.
But a lot of different
I know
retail-
that, but I do know that they have. I do know that Metric is not the same in each state. That they have customized kind of
Right, but business is the
implementations.
same in each state, and all retail obviously all
Yeah.
has recalls, and there should have been a protocol when setting up,
Yeah, but
this
in
whole
our state, we
industry.
haven't really done a proper recall before, and I think maybe they just don't. Yeah, I don't know. They'll get there. I hope.
Cars
They'd
got
ruffle a
recalls.
lot of feathers having a recall.
This is why we keep, we apply pressure, right? Like we congratulate them for a good job
Right.
on something, but we also continue to apply pressure,
Yeah,
right?
it's not good enough.
Anyway, I think I was kind of pointing out to you, right, that like this, that this suspension, right? Like, first of all, these activities that they were suspended for, some of them sound like activities that I heard about from employees of another lab. So, I mean, some of these data signatures that are mentioned in this suspension order, they were mentioned more than a year ago. The same sorts of things in a conference abstract by the chief of research at the Cannabis Control Commission, Julie Johnson.
So this has
PhD.
already been out there for a while.
So, yeah, so their chief of research is also aware that there were several ITLs that had really conspicuously low total yeast and mold failure rates and histograms with giant spikes at 0 colony forming units per gram for some of them, indicating entering 0 instead of a real number.
What's a
in
histogram?
testogram. So that was in
What is
their displays of their data.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, just going through their data, all their tabulated test results. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So them two things that we just went over, the first two things, the
Yeah.
7,000 whatever and the 544 tests, whatever.
Yeah.
Those were the two main things that they got in trouble for.
Well, I think the thing that really got them popped was that standard operating procedure that showed their
That's
intent.
stated
I think
in
that's
the,
what made this. So you could argue that it's quite likely, based on these data, based on the knowledge within the CCC, it's quite likely that they're investigating other labs right now.
Oh, they are.
That Assured got popped because they had an especially easy to enforce infraction, right?
Yeah, but do you think
That
they're
was
going to
so
slow?
straightforward. And also the fact that they filed a lawsuit right away.
That
Right?
just shows he's doing something wrong, usually.
Well, and it suggests, but it also it
I don't think
proves it proves that the CCC was right to be worried about lawsuits,
Right.
they said
right?
it.
And I think, and honestly, like as I've dug in more in the past year, you would be shocked, but like they make lots of enforcement decisions based on not wanting to piss off big companies that they think might sue them and have deep pockets.
Oh, because of the
and
money.
tie them up for years.
Yeah.
Right, because even if the commission wins eventually, right, like a bunch of
It still
lawsuits
costs
could be
hundreds
really
of thousands
crippling.
of dollars to go to court.
Yeah, it
what do
costs
you-
a lot.
It's going to be more than that when they get a
lot.
lot of lawsuits.
This brings
Yeah.
us back to the budget. They take 70% and bring it to give it to a drug
Yeah, and,
rehabilitation
well, you've
program
kind of-
fund. Why not have 10% set aside for counter lawsuits for
Yeah.
actually being able to do your fucking job?
But it turns out, I mean, I've just learned like we're shockingly deferential
obviously
to
enough money in
business.
there.
Like we just plain are in this country, right? Like I've gone and testified a couple of times this past spring before the legislature, before a joint committee of the Massachusetts legislature, the Joint Committee on Cannabis Policy. So that's a group of senators and representatives. And I was speaking for consumers, and I think I was probably the only just pure like consumer advocate for just like all consumers.
You were probably the
who was
only
in
one.
the room. Like then there were a few people who were advocates for medical consumers, and patients, I mean, we got to salute them because patients got us to legalization to begin with. But 90% of the people there were business owners. They need the legislature on their side. And I could just see that. And I could see that the power of voices is often determined by someone saying like, hey, I am thus and so, I have this company, I employ this many people in your district. Right? And that number, right, is kind of like a measure of their importance sometimes.
Of course, there's a lot of taxes being paid to those people.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. I understand, but like what I've seen is that business interests sometimes really...
It's always not.
Are really deferred to, you know?
And you brought up, to the point that you brought up earlier, as far as, they might be getting suspended, but that counter lawsuit, who did they cover up for?
Yeah.
And if those pockets are deep, they're going to be backed.
Yeah, right. And
why wouldn't I want to back them?
They were committing all of that fraud on behalf of a lot of big companies in Massachusetts.
Yeah, they were testing what, like 40% of the flour at one point, or 25%
That would be
or something?
one estimate. So the suspension order mentions the number 25%, but several observers have pointed out that Assured was gaining clients over the course of the last year. So
because of this.
Well, yes, probably because of this. So if they tested overall 25%, because they were gaining clients so quickly at the beginning of the last year, they might have only had 15%. And by the end of the year, they might have had 40%.
Because they had
Those have been some of the estimates that people have guessed. I don't know how accurate that is, but people really have had the sense that they were gaining clients quite fast. I've had multiple friends tell me about losing clients to Assured in the past year. So they were definitely
They were gaining.
I think we should put a pool on this. This thing's getting thrown out. The deep pockets are winning.
You think so? Yeah. No, I don't think so, because
not
it's
yet.
clearly
No.
written.
We just keep holding their feet to the fire. So like the thing that I would like to imagine happening is that the chief of research, who clearly seems to have been aware of this problem for some time and quite capable of analyzing those data the same way as lots of other people have,
overlooking.
Right? So, their chief of, if they're, you'd like to imagine their chief of research, the director of testing, the chief of investigations and enforcement, and the director of data, all like huddling every once in a while and working really closely together within the CCC to ferret out these problems. That's what I would like to see happen. But what I'm afraid of is that those four individuals are more isolated from each other and not collaborating as well as they could. And so that's what I'm really hoping to see keep improving, and that's what I'm hoping that this relatively new executive director can keep engendering is tighter and tighter collaboration. Because I think if they work together like that, they could these investigations could get quite efficient.
Do you think that? I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
Do you think this is just smoke and mirrors, just to make it look like, hey, we're doing something, we're not just sitting back anymore?
I think that's one possibility, but I really hope not. And I'm not gonna. I mean, we're not gonna forget today or tomorrow, right? So like.
Ricky, you're gambling, man. What do you think the odds people are going to get scared and pull back as cultivators? Because not one cultivator got named in this. So now, what about the cultivator? Because if the lab can't recall you for the sample and you send a new sample down, so how come that cultivator is not culpable? In
I think they're going to evaluate
any cultivators.
To answer your question, if it was me.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
It all comes down to money.
Yeah.
If my fine is only going to be $100,000 and they're going to recall $3 million in product, and I know they're not recalling shit, give me the fine all day long.
I love it.
Well, that's how people operate. But what about all these big dispensaries can donate to these legislators' campaign funds?
Listen, this is all smoke and mirrors. If they're not recalling it, give me the fine. Oh, you're going to suspend me for a couple of days? Okay, no problem.
They're
and you're not the problem is they're suspended. They're suspended, but they still got all their product.
I
can't sell it out the front door. Where else am I going to sell it?
Like
out the back
Listeria
door.
Or anything like a food.
That product is going to move. That product is going to move. If they don't take the product, think about it. That product.
Ricky's pushing everything.
Think about it. It's the truth, right? Good. They're doing something. Okay. Hey, we're doing something.
So that's
like a threat. That's like a threat. Okay. But they ain't doing anything.
A little slap.
They didn't take the product. They didn't confiscate it while they're going through it, right?
And they didn't hit any of the cultivators or the manufacturers.
So what would you do with the product?
Sell it.
Are they keeping track of how much stuff that they have right now?
I can answer your question, but me, if I was a sleazeball business owner, yeah, I would run it the way you're
Yeah,
running it.
right, of
You know what
course.
I'm saying? That's how
Everybody
I would run
is.
it.
If you have that, listen. If you have that much investment, who's gonna say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do the"? No, that shit's going out the back fucking door.
No, it's getting sold.
So if that 500, what's the parameters of
10%.
how many mistakes can you make without getting in trouble?
They didn't make a mistake. They had literally failed.
I know, but my
It
question-
failed.
my
and then
question-
they had them resend more product. The
My
product
question
completely
is,
failed.
right? Say you test 100% of the product, right?
Yeah.
And say 10% of it because the machines were bad or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. 10% of the product in that
is there a
batch.
certain percentage that you're allowed to make a mistake on? So if they go in front of the judge, does the CCC have that?
Well, I think that's like a really. I just don't see how that could apply to this case because
Yeah.
that's not what happened here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Ricky.
Like, there was
Ricky.
fraudulent data entry.
A good attorney's gonna fucking spin that shit. anyway.
No, Ricky, Ricky, what happened here?
I'd be like,
think
it's
that's
only
totally
500
different.
something.
It's different than an
Not a big
error.
deal.
It's different than an error, though. It's fraud.
So 544.
It's that simple.
Laws
It's
are
fraud.
about laws and regulations are they're about like these actions, right? It's the discrete action of entering the number, right? And the intent behind it also was pretty clear, right? Since it seems to have brought them a lot of business.
But the crazy thing is that you bring up the word fraud.
We have the lowest percentage
There
of
is
failure rate.
fraud from the growers to the regulators.
That's Massachusetts.
Like, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? There's fraud everywhere.
Look, I agree with you. Look here. I'll show. Do you want me to show you another example? I'll show you
yeah.
something.
Show
I'll
us
show you
something.
something totally different. I did. All
It
right.
looked like Trevor rolled that.
No, that's like a machine. That's a machine.
It looks like
prepared
Trevor. He put too much in it
cone.
like usual and it split.
It's the sort of thing that you call a pre-roll, but probably it's not actually made by rolling if
Looks
it's a
like
cone.
garbage.
Where did you get this weed from, Jeff?
I bought it from a dispensary, and it was labeled. You see the numbers it's labeled with on the left, right? Pretty high numbers, right? The THCA is supposedly 31.86%. One of the local testing labs also checked it, so we've confirmed it 6 ways to Sunday. Like they consistently put out these pre-rolls with these really high numbers on the label, but especially low numbers, like when we actually measure it, right? And so, and this is a case where I don't think that like all the blame is necessarily on the lab at all, or maybe like I actually reached out to the producer, and I learned that actually in Massachusetts is common practice for pre-rolls. They'll test the hang on now. They'll test the batch of bud, right? Like they're allowed to have a 15-pound batch, right? Then they're allowed to take the trim and separate that and keep the same certificate of analysis with it. And the CCC testing enforcement does not care. They've said in an email they don't see the problem with this. And then it is common practice in the industry, actually, when they make pre-rolls, it's common practice to not have it be 100% buds. They actually will set a numerical ratio. They'll do 50-50 trim to buds.
This is the problem where I think that Rhode Island got it right and where Mass got it wrong with the regulations that would prevent this happening for the pre-roll. This is the biggest problem with the pre-roll. This is why I don't even think a lot of this pre-rolls numbers with the THC being off has to do with the lab at all. It has to do with the batch selection and not in Rhode Island where they got it right was they actually have the lab tech come and get led to the batches, placed with the batches there and actually pick the sample out. And if the batch, I actually met with one lab in Rhode Island, right? We talked to them. And
about that selection process,
right. And then but they'll offer a second test.
Table.
Like if they come to a batch and it's like half shake and half buds, they'll offer them a free test on just the shake. So they split the batch so it has a representation just for the shake. That's what they do in Rhode Island. In Mass, the cultivator, the manufacturer, he actually picks the sample and brings it down there and walks it down there. So that's like really, you can't say that the pre-roll situation has to do with lab fraud. I think 90% of it has to do with the batch selection and how the sample gets picked.
I mean, it could be like a convolution of each, we would say, right?
But because if you're the lab,
there
right?
are contributions from each, right? Like
As the ITL, as the lab, your only purpose is to make sure the product's clean for the consumer, right?
But
that's what your purpose is, right? That's why we have labs, to make sure the product's clean for consumer. So they're
but these
literally
labs are really struggling to get enough clients.
No,
to,
but
like,
I'm just saying that their hands are tied, because they're just taking samples from everybody. They should be able to go and then everybody else, and now all the liabilities on every single lab evenly. And now if you're going and picking batches, and now this stuff keeps on coming up hot, now it's like, it's dead to rights to the lab. Like, why are you accepting batches? You're supposed to be helping the consumer. These batches are supposed to be a uniform. I'm sure it's described in the order of conditions down there.
Yeah. I don't think that's representative, right? Like unequal division of a batch after testing is obviously not representative, right?
So now it's
a clear
misleading
failure of enforcement, really.
Right. So the consumers are taking it in the ass on this one in Mass.
So the system is
sometimes, right? Again, like, look, I
think the
I
pre-rolls-
reported a couple of pre-rolls that were filled with better flour.
Okay.
Right? Like, and I've published some of that. You can look at it on my website, some of our reviews.
Yeah, where do they find you at?
Cansci.org, CANNSCI.org, and look for tasting testing. Look, if you want to understand this industry a little more, then really listen to this.
No,
right?
I understand it, but I know you got
don't.
facts, and I want to see these
Yeah,
facts.
Jeff, tell him. Ricky has no fucking
You're not changing my
You just
mind,
said
Jeff.
it's confusing.
You're not changing my mind.
You just said it's confusing.
Ricky, let him play this slide out.
Yeah. Look at this. But half of these are from smoke shops, and half of them are from dispensaries. And I sent them to a lab a long way away to measure them all, so that I wouldn't be able to interfere with it in any way, and so they wouldn't even know.
I like
all right.
that.
So they have no way of knowing what they're testing. All right. And for all the dispensary ones, they were, if you look over here, the thing you really want to look at is the very right-hand column, which is telling you how far off they were as a percentage of the total. And I singled out one here that was off by 34%. Otherwise, all of them were within about 10%. But for the most part, these were really pretty dead on, man. I mean, right? Like, even if a 10% error on a 5 milligram gummy just means it's 5.5, right?
That's what I was talking about earlier, though.
Yeah. So
What if you do it on a grand scale?
So they're pretty dead on, right? But look, here's what happened with the smoke shop ones. Okay.
Ricky.
Some of them were off by 99 or 100%. They literally had none of the active ingredient.
Placebo.
Like, others had different. They had
What is this, Delta
Others had
8?
Delta 8 instead of Delta 9, and they were mislabeled. Others had Delta 9 instead of Delta 8.
What's the difference between Delta 9 and Delta 8, Jeff?
They're
For the
double
viewers
bond
at home.
isomers, and they both function pretty similarly in the body, but they have slightly different activities. And it's important to note, like, this is stuff you can see if you go to our website. Also, I've just been on our Instagram, and our LinkedIn. You'll see I've just been publishing some stuff about synthetic cannabinoids.
Yeah, because is Delta 8 and Delta 9 one from hemp and one from cannabis, or are they both?
No. Delta 8 doesn't occur naturally.
So
what happened with GO8? It's minus 100.
It's totally and many of these were the result of synthesis.
So how do you get Delta 8?
You get Delta 8 by synthesis. Usually they make it from cyclizing CBD.
Well, I mean, if you look at all the different smoke shops, minus 100%, so it had zero.
Yeah. So you
anything in it.
literally have, right? I mean, look at that. That's like nearly
It's
a 1 in.
80% off, yeah.
That's nearly a 1 in 2 chance of drawing a blank at a
So it was
smoke
labeled
shop.
100 and only
Right.
had 19.
Could have been measured wrong?
Versus a 1 in 10 chance at the dispensary, or 1 in 11 chance at the dispensary of getting one that's slightly off enough that you might notice the difference.
That's a big difference right there.
It's a really
That
big
thing
difference.
adds
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah,
in
your
it.
odds of getting an accurately labeled gummy in a dispensary versus a smoke shop is like 10 to 1.
So it's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's almost
Maybe that was just a
impossible to
Sour
get a
Patch
bad
Kids
one in
thing.
the dispensary, and it's very hard to get a good one in the smoke shop.
Wow, I'm gonna
And I
remember
found
that.
similar stuff with the ones I buy online. They're also bunk.
And these are all edibles.
And when you examine other features, there's a lot of stuff I don't have time to show you guys, but like when you examine other features of these products, everything about them is done more sloppy, right? Those businesses are complaining that they're running legitimately and that they're having to lay off employees, and that's what's really upsetting everybody. And like, right? And we're not seeing the recalls, right? We're not seeing the consumers protected. And I don't know. Right now, I'm the only guy that I see going into the legislature and reminding them that their $7 billion that make up this cannabis industry that they are so proud of all came from consumers, right?
Right.
It's all consumers who are purchasing the fruits of labor.
Yeah, but
right?
the thing is they also know, Jeff, they're not going to stop buying.
Is who we forget.
They're purchasing spoiled product.
I know, but they're not going to stop buying.
In some cases, right? But as we see, right, there's some
Well,
people putting out great stuff, man. I've tested some good weed in the last 6 months.
So you just made the point. They're not going to stop buying.
And that's what's
if you
really
buy
unfair, man.
gummies and that's what you buy, and you had a few that didn't do shit, you're just going to take a few more.
Yeah, but Ricky, these people are going into the store thinking that they're getting
dangerous, man.
People are thinking they're getting what they're
dangerous.
getting.
Yeah,
So
I
this
know
recent
the point.
story I posted from my own experience, man. I'm not like a lightweight consumer, right? You've seen how much I take,
Listen,
right?
I'm not.
What's the biggest gummy you or what's the biggest edible you've seen
Listen,
me take?
I'm just
$1.50
really, this is important. You say it. You
a
tell the
200
audience.
or a $1.50.
Yeah. I've popped
The brownie. What was that brownie?
That brownie was that. I think that brownie was just 80.
And then the kids gave you a gummy that was 150.
Yeah, they gave me a
150
150 gummy.
Yep.
Right. Another time. Yep. I've posted on LinkedIn about doing a 100 milligram shot at the last MJ Unpacked. Right, and that was like, I mean, I was dabbing and everything, man. Like,
and to
right,
the face,
right. Yeah, right. Well, look, man, I bought this one gummy, right, and the accurate testing, right. You can read about this. Like, I just posted this stuff on LinkedIn like yesterday, right. So the accurate testing done by Chris Hidala at Proverde Labs, which is a great lab.
Yeah.
Their accurate testing says total about 100 milligrams of combined like Delta 8, Delta 9 THC, mostly Delta 8. So it should be the kind of thing that's a pretty heavyweight edible, even for me, right? But again, I've taken those plenty of times before, and I get up the next day and I'm fine, right?
Yeah.
Well, not this one, man. Like this one, and I tried it 2 times to make sure it was really these gummies, but 2 times just taking one of these, man. The next day, like I had this horrible
hangover?
waking, sleeping hellscape for hours in the morning where I couldn't get up. If I would try to stand up and go pee or something, right? And I would still be seeing the dream I was having. I couldn't completely wait. I could not tripping. Come out of it, man. And that happened for hours, right? And I learned that each one of those gummies contains 5 milligrams of, let's see here, it's Delta. I'm gonna misspeak it. It's Delta. Is it Delta 4, 8 ISO THC, and it's a
The hell is that?
It's a weird isomer of THC. It's basically an experimental compound. Nobody even knows what it does to people, but they fed me 5 milligrams.
So you really, literally couldn't get up in the morning.
Yeah, I couldn't get up in the morning.
And you did this twice just to make sure.
And I felt shitty. And
how were you after you took it?
What?
How were you before you woke up?
I mean, the sleep. I was just lost in sleep, man. I just couldn't wake up.
It just paralyzed you?
Not paralyzed. I just felt totally somnambulant, and I couldn't get my brain to really wake up.
You had to take it
and then
twice?
It was really slow. I tried
and you did it again?
I tried a second time because I was
I hope this diploma was worth more than the paper it was printed on, Jeff.
Look, I know, man, but the thing is,
he's doing it for science.
I want to be really sure sometimes, man, and
it was a sacrifice for science.
And things can be so I don't know, things can be so anecdotal. And the second time was worse than the first. So these things they also seemed to be really variable. So it's
you said you tried to get up to piss. Did you make it?
Got a strong one.
And I mean, look, there's so many different experiences with weed, right? I mean, look, you get really special stuff sometimes. I mean, it's not all the same. Some
You're
of
only
it
as good
is
as your
more
last
special.
batch.
It's like a surprise grab bag.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Chevy Chase
Well,
and Vegas
it's like
Vacation. How many
produce,
fingers am I
man.
holding
like,
up?
And look, if you're shopping for tomatoes every week, I mean, they're not like some weeks are better for tomatoes than others, right? Like, I don't know. Like,
Well, you do bring
whatever
up a
it
good
is.
point. It is
Yeah,
a
but if
produce.
the tomato had mold
Yeah.
on it, it wouldn't be in the shop.
And
You know
there's
what I mean?
also right, like, and there's also a real difference. Like, if I'm buying tomatoes in the
It'd
grocery
be tomato
store,
sauce.
like, I really have kind of a different expectation than when I'm at the farmer's market or when I like have a like
Well, of
homegrown
course.
tomatoes, right?
They've got to have realistic expectations at the
like,
supermarket.
And I think like these different marketplaces are a little like that. To me, the dispensaries feel more like the supermarket kind of weed, right?
Right.
They got a whole bunch of products of everything, right?
It's not
when
the
we go to
farmer's
PIFCon,
market.
we're seeing like a farmer's market, sort of, but some of those guys are kind of bigger scale and a little commercial, actually.
You
right?
just brought up a good
underground.
point, though, Jeff.
So-
You just brought up a good point.
But it's
So-
more farmers markety, right?
Right,
like,
right.
In many respects, a lot of people just have big mason jars.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, more curated.
But he just brought up a good
options.
point in compared
Yeah.
to.
You know?
You just brought up a
And
good
then
point.
like when I get some stuff from Cranberry, right? Like that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
going to
but-
like the
but you just brought up some.
farmer,
Good, you
right?
just brought up a good
Yeah,
point.
it's almost home grow.
If
right?
you go to a farmer's market to get produce,
right.
you know
Basically
it's going to be homegrown. You know it's going to be really good, better than the
that
supermarket.
depends on where you go. I'm kind of around the supermarket industry.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, look, we've gone to shows, right? We go to we go to shows. We go to each guy. Like, there's
Right.
been times where I smell a guy's jars and they all just kind of smell the same, right? They just all
Yes.
smell like weed, right?
Turp
Like,
basil.
not
Right.
everybody is not everybody is equal, even in all these venues,
Right.
right? We didn't. I mean,
And even at that, you're only as good as your last grow.
yeah. And
So
and
everything's
this is the thing,
different,
and like
everything.
I don't know, but I think
You got to be
there's
clocked
something
in.
there
To
was
be
some-
dialed in.
there was something I was going to say, which is that like I have some sense of these things, but I'm not testing nearly enough products to really evaluate all of these companies like
Right.
in the big picture, right? Or like all I know is that I find all different examples. I think it's a real,
The state
there's
should
some
hire
pe-
you.
Yeah,
They should
and
do.
well, I mean, I just hope that we keep having good communication. You know, like I talk to Kim Roy a lot.
She's good.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, what else you got on
Look,
here, Jeff?
I
you got a few more
right,
things
like,
here.
like a lot of what the Institute of Cannabis Science does now, like, is we communicate in different ways to like all the stakeholders and directly to the decision makers. So, for example, like to start off this year, we issued a letter of 4 basic recommendations. That of things that we thought were that would advance accuracy in consumers and consumer interests in Massachusetts, and that we thought were like achievable within a year, sort of like
Okay.
our goals to set, right? And the first one was to automate handling of certificates of analysis and provide them to consumers by QR codes. The second was raise total yeast and mold threshold from 10,000 to 100,000 colony forming units per gram. To implement a consumer-facing label that identifies remediated flour,
That's a big one right there.
and to increase the pesticide list.
I like
because
that one.
because
right
our
there.
list is only 9 compounds, and people we know that cultivators can be tempted to use excessively pesticides that they know aren't going to be tested for. So
Exactly.
so
I think
those are 4 things that we thought we could get done.
But I think
and
number
if you
1 is
listen to
big.
Kim Roy, when she was here, there was at least some point in her interview when she mentioned all 4 of these. So I've talked to her about these priorities, and she's taken them
right.
on, and she's even come up with her own ways to implement them, to politically package them, and to figure it out. So she's done a lot
Yeah,
of the
no, she's
creative
big
work.
on the QR. She mentioned the
She's
QR
really
codes.
smart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So where we're getting right, like so,
Automated
She
and
got
handling.
she got the certificates of analysis automated and put in a system right away. Because
Yep,
I pointed
by the
out.
lab.
Yeah, because I pointed
That's
out
cool.
that wasn't happening, and she let me know that that she remembered me bringing that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, and she.
What about the
has-
QR
she's-
code? Are
she's
QR
kept-
codes
yeah,
there?
she said that her like what she has, she's packaging it with the public consumption regulations.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Jeff, you think
yeah.
from the last time you were on the show to where you are now, you think this industry is heading in the right direction finally?
I mean, it's getting a lot better. I think there's always going to be more problems with salt. This thing's so new. Like, I know people have been smoking weed forever, but commercial cannabis is just different, you know? We're industrializing something now, right? Like, we're having government
Different
regulate
industry.
it. We're setting up storefronts. We're distributing, right? We're growing at big scale. Some people are trying to grow, like they're setting these weird action limits for stuff where people are trying to grow it super sterile,
That's
which
why
may not be the healthiest for it all the time, or like there may be unintended consequences of some of that, right? Like
that's why I like that facilities.
tough to figure stuff
that
out.
facilities test, and I think she said she was going to tie it
environmental
into
testing is a really good idea. It's honestly a smart thing. It's cost effective for producers.
Commissioner Roy
Many
said.
producers are shooting themselves in the foot. They don't necessarily know what's best for themselves. Or maybe they don't have the cash on hand anymore and they're just running from disaster. I don't know. But
Like Kim Roy said, she was going to tie that facilities testing to like the Lorna bill that's going.
did she
that
say
passed.
that? I missed that part.
I think
She
so. I
mentioned
think that
Okay, yeah.
because that's part
good.
of that
That would
whole.
be good. Yeah.
That's part of that whole worker safety bill, right?
Yes,
that they're putting together.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely that seems to be advancing as part of that omnibus package. So, and I hope
That
it's
would be
still
cool.
developing, yeah.
Even if they've tested your facility once a year, or every 6 months.
It can't be. It's gonna be.
Like-
I mean, actually, once a year is
You know what I
good,
mean?
but I think it needs to be more than that.
Because you're
It
already
needs to be out
testing
with
all-
like every batch.
No, but if you're testing all the products still, right? Now you do the facility once a year, every 6 months, just like your inspection sticker on your car or something.
Yeah.
And then you'll catch a bunch of shit. I bet you when them first checks come back across all the facilities, there's going to be a lot of cleaning up to
think
do. And
once
then I'm
a ye-
sure there'll be some orders written that they have to clean it up and get it retested within a month, or else,
But once
they
a
might have
year,
to halt
once a year is
cultivation.
if you're worried about employee safety, once a year is not enough.
Anything with any regularity is better than nothing at all. And I've heard a lot of like stories from people about finding sources of contamination in cultivations and solving systematic problems for cultivations that were having lots of test failures.
Right.
And they can find that it comes down to really small stuff, a
Right.
single rusty nail that is punctured through the roofing,
Yeah.
right? That is letting water drip down into the middle of their facility that becomes this entry point for all kinds of crud, right? Like
All sorts of bad
Bugs,
stuff.
whatever.
all
Latin
kinds of
microbial
waterborne microbes. Yeah.
I have a question in regards to employee
and
safety
it's
and everything
going
else.
into this like otherwise sterile facility, right?
So when I get a job at a facility, right, I get a badge,
Right.
yeah.
right?
Sheriff
so
badge.
what I heard, right, and I was talking to somebody that worked at a facility, and they ended up quitting, but that facility actually threatened taking his badge because he was
That badge was I think
because
it still
his badge
is only good to that
They
facility.
did it.
Yeah, that's true.
So they did everything. So they threatened him in taking the badge away because he was talking about because there was mold and everything else,
Oh, he was
and they
complaining
weren't
to
following
them.
process and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of these places, they're like you,
that's a
Rick.
whole nother angle that we never even talked about.
Yeah,
so when
I've
I was
heard
talking to him, I was like, "Shit, we got to get you on the show because that's real shit that nobody talks about." Nobody's had an employee on the show that's
Right.
trying to do the right thing, and it's working
Yeah,
for a
Danny
facility.
Carson was on the
and then
show.
guess what?
Yeah.
That's his fucking
Danny
income
Carson,
to feed his kids.
Matt Rusi, he used to work in a facility, and he said about that, but now he works for Clean, and they remediate. Well, they don't remediate the flower; they remediate your grow room, your problem, your rusty nail.
Yeah, they
poking through the
rehabilitate your
roof,
building, yeah.
You know,
The CCC desperately needs to have a proper whistleblower line, but really, like, it's not the hotline itself, but it's the power to extend protections against retaliation to people and to assure people that they will be safe. Honestly.
Rob, you got anything else to say other than
You have
gotta
other
get the
stuff you wanna
salad?
I
ask me
think
about?
Jeff's the great guest, and I would definitely think the state should hire him.
As
And
long-
Leroy, if you're listening, this guy, Jeff, you better hire him.
And tell him to hire Corey and to
Why Corey's on point too?
and to support yeah.
Would Corey want to come on the show
He's
and
on-
talk about why you got out of the
If you
business
ask,
and
if
labs
you
and
ask
stuff
him
like
about it, I
that?
bet he'll come on the show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll send you
Invite
this
him.
clip, Corey.
Yeah. Yeah,
Corey,
I've been
come
shouting
on
him out
in.
because he's buddy, and I mean,
I'd like
it's
to-
not just because, but I swear it's not just because I like him. It's because I've worked with him several times, and he was always like the
Well,
most
if he'd
open.
like to
and,
come on and talk about lab struggles because he was actually in business and just recently went out of business, he might be more apt to talk about some things that somebody who's scared to lose their license and talk bad about the regular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Call
yeah.
out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this
yeah,
might be
yeah.
our guy.
I expect
finally.
he don't give a fuck, man.
Yeah, that would be great to actually get him on. That would be amazing. Jeff, thanks for coming on. Canasci.org, right?
Yeah.
Or
Support the
Cansci.
Support the
didn't even say
Institute
what
of
episode
Cannabis
this is.
Science, cansci.org. You can even see it up there, right?
Can they
My
make
email address is on your
donations
screen.
there?
Yeah, you can make donations. All right, you can make donations, and if you follow us on Instagram or LinkedIn, you'll be able to. You can always send us. Well, I love getting requests and
products?
suggestions of like products and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you want me to try something out,
Jeff will test it for
Please-
that. For
please
its
no more
accuracy.
You get another
Sumo
100
gummies,
milligram. Jeff's going to do
yeah.
it. No.
no more weird gummies from the internet. Maybe for a while, that was enough.
Yeah. I'm surprised it took you 2 times to realize, oh yeah, this shit's
Oh,
trash.
he's a scientist, man. He had to prove his point.
Doing the good work for the people.
Oh man,
Awesome.
Yeah. That way, it was actually someone who knows the difference, right?
Hell yeah. Thank you for coming on, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, guys. You guys are always the best.
Ricky, thanks for being late. Fucking Rob could have had at least another 45 minutes of the show.
How you doing?
I just been here for 4 hours, man. I can't sit down.
We can't talk forever.
Yeah, Ricky fucked us. Thank you.
Wake up in the morning, got a bag on my schedule. Niggas talking, bitches talking, they is not on my level. Check the time, wrist, rollie, rose gold on the bezel. Grab my keys and get my cell and hit the door with a shovel. It's time to get it out the mud.